The job of an astronaut is to get ready for things to go wrong. That's what we do. We get ready for things to go wrong. And the number of things that can go wrong during a shuttle flight, like Kathy's 4 flights, are huge. But during 6 months on a space station with ships coming and going, and it's even bigger. And so you spend years, decades of your life gaining the skills so that no matter what goes wrong, somebody on the crew can deal with that problem. Like, what if you need a tooth pulled, or someone needs their appendix out, or you have to do an emergency spacewalk, or the space station springs a leak, or one of the experiments fails. And that takes a huge work ethic. You have to get ready almost all of your life for things that are probably never going to happen.
You hope not.
No, but you have to be ready for them. Yeah. You don't really care. You're getting ready for those things to happen. And that requires a whole different mindset of a work ethic. And they're very competent, capable guys, and really good company too, easygoing. And that's who you want on a spaceship. It's kind of who you want to be with on Earth too.
You actually needed to put part of the Hubble Space Telescope inventory out to make the room for it.
We did. Yeah. We removed the high-speed photometer and brought it home, and then put CoStar in. And in subsequent service missions, all the instruments in the bottom part of the telescope have all been replaced with their own corrective optics. So then CoStar came home, and now there's 4 functioning instruments in the bottom part of the telescope now.
CoStar is right now in Smithsonian's.
It is.
Did you visit it?
Several times, yeah. It's I think not on display now because they're in the middle of a big renovation, but I have seen it there, yes.
How did you feel about it when you saw it, in space and then on Earth?
Well, I kind of felt some possessiveness. This is my CoStar. I'll let him keep it for a while, but it's my CoStar.
Well, hard to steal it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But actually, it belongs to the people who designed it and built it at Ball Aerospace, I think. I mean, emotionally, it belongs to them.
Speaking about the emotions connected to Hubble Space Telescope, you have personal relationship, don't you? Because your daughter got her PhD thanks to Hubble Space Telescope.
She did. She was 11 years old when we flew that mission. And she got her PhD using Hubble data, and her dissertation director had earned his PhD using Hubble data. So, all the data that's been taken from Hubble in the 34 years it's been in orbit is all archived and is all available, and it will be around forever, and it will generate generations of new scientists who will use those data.
You might be in the suit for 10 hours. You don't have a chance to eat, but there's a water bag in there, and the water bag has a little valve on the top. It's one of those ones that if you pinch it with your teeth, it squeezes and then you can suck water out of it. But mine, all it did was leak, and when I tried to drink out of it, it wouldn't give me any water. So it was frustrating, but there was water floating around inside my helmet. You can't touch it, and that water picked up some of the anti-fog fluid and put it in my eye, and a lot, like it's as if someone just poured shampoo on your eye or oil on your eye, and your eye it's very painful, and it's kind of hard to think of anything else, and your eye closes and tears. And so imagine if you were outside on your first spacewalk, you're about halfway through, and suddenly your eye hurts like crazy and it closes in tears. What would you do? And I thought, well, I've got another eye, and maybe that's why we have 2 eyes. And Houston's not going to be able to help me. I mean, if I tell them,
they'll just tell you to abort the spacewalk.
They'll just be worried. So I thought I'll just keep on working, and maybe eventually it'll clear. But because the tears don't fall, the tear just got bigger and bigger and bigger until it went across my nose into my other eye, and then both eyes were contaminated. Then both eyes hurt. When I tried to see, it was just all filmy and milky. So then I told Houston. And I'd worked in mission control for 25 shuttle flights in a row. So I knew it was going to be like rolling a grenade into mission control to say, hey, there's something contaminated in my suit. Both my eyes are blind. What do you want me to do next? And it might have been the chemical that takes the carbon dioxide out of the air. It's called lithium hydroxide. If you pump carbon dioxide, moist air through it, out the other side comes clean oxygen. But the trouble with lithium hydroxide is it's nasty, and so you have filters and seals. But if you get a lithium hydroxide breakthrough into your suit, it starts attacking your mucous membranes. You'll get it, in your nose, your mouth, your eyes, and your lungs, and it could do a lot of damage. So the concern was, what if it's lithium hydroxide? so they said, what we want you to do is open up a little hole into your spacesuit, like the toilet on your first flight. Open up a little hole and let oxygen flow out of your helmet, and it'll flush the bad air out. And then we've got a high pressure tank. And so it's a strange feeling to be blind, holding onto the spaceship, reaching up, grabbing this little valve, turning it 90 degrees, then it pops out, and then listening to as I'm trying to repressurize the universe with my little tank. But it worked, because the fresh, clean, dry oxygen comes in by the back of your neck, blows up over your head, comes down, and then went out the hole. And so it kept flowing over my face, so the contaminated air cleaned up, but also it evaporated the tears. So I was like a raccoon with like dried, crusty stuff. And it took about 20 minutes until I could see well enough. But then I couldn't really see great, but I thought, you know, that's enough. And Houston can't really tell. And I said, fine, I can see okay. And they said, really? You're okay? Yeah, I'm okay.
What happened?
I haven't heard this story, so I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, so the first day, I was feeling really bad that day, and I took a shot of Phenergan, and I was rolled up in a ball thinking, God, I'd have to get better to die. And all of a sudden, this noise comes on, wah, 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 and the only thing that noise means is you're losing your cabin pressure fast. And what happened was, the first person to use the toilet in the solid waste disposal mode, you go in there and you lift up a handle, and that closes the vent to space, because the can is normally vented. And then you push it back or forward, and it opens up a valve, and then you have a toilet. Well, he pulled it up, and it didn't close the vent to space. Pushed it forward or backwards, I can't remember. And so we had essentially a half-inch hole in the cabin, which started the cabin pressure dropping pretty quickly. Well, he clearly recognized cause and effect, so he closed it back off in a real hurry. And we thought we were going to have to come home the next day, because the flight rules say if the toilet's non-functioning, you're 24 hours you're home, because it's not safe, it's not sanitary in a closed environment. But we convinced them that we could handle it, so we just opened up the bottom and put vice grips on a linkage, so we could open and close it with vice grips instead of the handle.
It worked.
Worked fine, yeah.
Wayne Hale, a flight director, said, "You can imagine what it would be like to be strapped down, have the suction of pure space applied to your person, have a rush of cold oxygen burst in over your head, and the depressed klaxon alarm going off simultaneously." Honestly, I can't imagine that.
Who said that?
Flight director.
Wayne Hale.
Right.
Oh, Wayne Hale. Oh, Wayne's colorful, yes. Yeah, that's about the size, that's about the picture.
I can't imagine that, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I just stayed in my rolled up ball because they really didn't need my help over there.
And you were rethinking your thoughts. You know, be careful what you wish for.
Yes.
You said the evening before, I would rather die than continue with this space sickness.
Yes. And then the alarm went off. I thought, God, I was kidding.
He listened.
Yes, he has a sense of humor. She has a sense of humor.
Cute.
Audit is fine.
I'm going to do a different song.
Up to
I
you.
wrote for my daughter while I was on the space station. Darkness falls, a favorite blanket that surrounds us all. A quiet ending to a busy day of noise and troubles we have put away to sleep. You and I, you in your bedroom, me up in the sky. As close as dreaming, we are holding hands. We hug so tightly as you lay now down to sleep, to sleep.